Okay guys, Tuesday the 26th of September and we're on the FTSE 100. Just entered into a long position after this 8:15 AM pin bar right here. The market, early morning, sold off very strongly into this zone at 286.9. It's one of the zones that I identified this morning with subscribers as a potential area to look for a bullish bounce. Yesterday on the FTSE on the daily time frame, we had a long-legged doji candle, so a candle of indecision, but the main thing I've been looking at is that alongside that indecision, the market has been testing up at the 7315 to 7320 levels repeatedly, so there is the potential here for the market to at least attempt to break higher. Got the signal 8:15, the market came straight down into the zone. 8 AM open candle is right here. We had the very, very strong sell-off. We then seen the rejection tail on that sell-off. We then tried to break at 8:05. We had a rejection tail. 8:10, again, rejection tail. And then 8:15, we got that pin bar. I want to be a little bit careful of previous swings. Really, I'm looking at these levels here. 7.2, around about 7.294. I want to see how the market reacts if/when it gets up to those levels. I want to see it coming through there fairly strongly without much bearish rejection. So this week, well, last week I had a very, very good week. It was my first week back at the charts. Yesterday I had a down day. I took one trade, had one loss. So currently going into this week, into Tuesday, I am sitting down for the week. A lot of people can find that quite difficult to deal with. For me, I always find a loss on a Monday and a loss on a Friday the hardest to deal with, because the Monday, it's the start of your week, and the Friday, it's the end of your week. So if you have a loss on the Monday, it's almost like it's setting you up in a negative light, and if you get the loss on the Friday, it's sending you into the weekend on the back of that loss. So it can be a little bit more difficult to deal with. For me, a couple of different things I do. After I have a loss, as long as it's a loss that is a loss that I'm happy with. Now, when I say that, you're never ever going to be happy with taking a loss, but if the loss fit all of your rules and if you did everything correctly, I always find it's something that you can rationalize in your mind and then brush off relatively simply. The problem comes when you start making mistakes. If you take incorrect trades, if you enter into the market on the back of fear of missing out, or because you haven't had a trade all day and you don't want to go into the weekend without trading on the Friday, that's when the problems really start. So you have to stick to your rules, have to stick to your plan. Actually, coming down right now, there's nothing to say that this market is not going to come down and stop me out once again. That is again something that all traders face. We have losses. You sometimes have runs of losses. The most important thing as a trader is when that happens, when you have those losses, you have to focus on protecting your account. And by protecting your account, you're having losses. They have to be losses that are part of your system. It's when you start to freak out and panic, and when you start to take poor trades because you're desperate to make the money back. It's when you start to overtrade because you've had a couple of losses, and you're thinking to yourself, okay, well, if I just take a couple of really quick trades here, maybe I can make 5 points here, I can make 10 points here. It's not really part of my system, but I just want to make this money back, and then I'll start following my rules again. Absolute recipe for disaster. The whole time you're a trader, you're looking to protect your account, but especially when you start having those losses, because when you start having the losses, that's when things can snowball very, very quickly. Okay, so looking at this market, there's not a lot more to go over. What I will do is, with the overall analysis, I will look at it with you guys on the higher time frame when the trade completes one way or the other. I don't really want to see a very strong bearish movement here, but there's the potential there, as I've mentioned, for the market to break down, come down toward that stop. What I will do, as always, I'll pause the video. I will turn it back on when the market starts to move one way or the other, and we will see how we get on. Okay guys, this trade is turning into a relatively long trade. I'm likely going to cut this down when I'm editing the video. There's quite a few things to go over. I'm going to sum up as we are watching the market now. And just a couple of quick things also. I'm going to be posting the vlog tomorrow, so that will be Thursday from my trip in India. I've managed to work through the footage, turn it into something that is, well, for me it's at least watchable. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. Then likely end of the week, I'm also going to be posting up a video asking for your guys' opinion on another market to add to Decisive trading. So basically I'm going to be looking at another market to start reviewing on the Sundays. And then I'm also going to be adding it into my subscription. It's going to be an American market, an index. I will post the video up on that. So if you are interested in that, please do watch out for the video at the end of the week and give me your opinions. So, I'm basically going to do what the viewers think, and also I'm going to poll subscribers, and then I'm going to work out, which market is the most wanted, and I will go forward with that, start testing it, start figuring it out, getting used to it for Zone Trader, and then I will start to bring it online. Okay, so this trade, anyway, relatively difficult one, in all honesty, when looking at this trade. So the market pressed down and it actually broke below this level right here. Now when it's breaking below, this is potentially support becoming resistance, and then the market pressed up. Now we pressed up into that management point, and we got rejection here. Now what I tend to do, one of two ways I approach management points. First one is, if it doesn't break the management point, I just exit. Second one is I wait till it reaches the management point, and then I wait for a pullback into nearby structure, which you very, very often see on, on all markets before you get the continuation move. Now, because I was looking for a potential bullish bounce on this area, as I mentioned earlier, I gave it the pullback. I was really looking for it to test at structure here. This previous swing here. The market actually came straight down below those levels. And then it did something which made the trade a little bit more confusing. It gave an engulfing candle right here. Now we've broken below a level of support. It turned into resistance potentially, and then we got the engulfing candle. Now, if it wasn't in a trade, I'd be looking at this for a potential setup. So it could have been a reason to exit the trade. Now, there's a couple of reasons why I didn't. Now, the first one is that, well, there's a few actually. The first one is I don't like to be in opposing trades. I don't like to be in a buy position and then also enter into a sell position. It just doesn't work for me. You're trying to look at the market for the benefits of it going in both directions. It just doesn't make sense. Now, the reason I stayed in the trade after the engulfing candle is because I also, if I wasn't in a trade and I was looking to take sells, I wouldn't have been willing to get into this as a short position. The reason being, if you can see this candle, 1, 2, and 3 right here, you can see the spike up, spike up, spike up, creating this relatively flat level right here of price action. For me, if I'd be getting into a sell position, that would have been the management point for me. I would have wanted to watch out for potential reactions at this level, which means getting into the trade, break of the low of the candle, plus your spread, you're already at the management point. It just didn't make sense as an entry for me. So I basically just ignored the signal. The market then pressed down, came a little bit lower, actually tested previous lows here. However, again, we'd already held once, we'd already held twice, and then if we're coming back down again, we started to hold once again. Just gave me a little bit of confidence to hold on to the trade, looking for another potential attempt at the bullish run up. Now we have since made the bullish run up and we are testing once again. Now I don't want to see the market making strong bearish reactions once again. If it is going to start to press higher, I really want to see it coming in over really this candle or the next candle, starting to at least attempt to break higher. Really looking for the market up toward the 300 tag, the round number, up toward yesterday's close price, which is sitting up at around 301. So that's what I'm looking for. Don't want to see any further strong bearish reactions. See how we get on with this trade. The pullback, allowing the pullback, has worked out on this occasion. Also, one of the reasons for holding is because I was looking for that potential bullish bounce from this level. We will go over that at the end of the video, you know, whether it completes as a win or as a loss. I'm still going to take you through the analysis, show you why I was looking for that potential move higher. Okay, so it looks like we are starting to press up a little bit. I'm going to pause the video once again. If we start to pop up, I'll turn it back on. If it starts to come back down again and I'm getting out of this trade for, you know, break even, very small loss, I'll turn it on also. Okay guys, just quickly whilst this trade is still running, I went over how with this section right here, after we pressed up, I was allowing the pullback to potentially retest at structure. Now the market pressed up here, pulled back, it's pressed up. What I'm doing is the exact same thing. I'm allowing it to pull back to retest potential structure before it finds that bullish momentum. I'm also just watching this now because, as I've mentioned, when the market broke down below these areas, I was looking at this now as potentially resistance. I want to see the market breaking up above the pivot level at 7295. If it closes back under it again on this candle, I'm just going to close out the trade for a smaller profit. With it being resistance, with it coming up to test these previous key swings up here, and with the market overall on the daily looking relatively bearish, I don't want to be locked into this trade if it can't break above 7295. Okay guys, I have closed this trade out now. We closed back below at 1050, below this pivot level. And there's nothing to say the market is not then going to rally up into this level up here. It's just not giving me enough evidence to stay in the trade anymore. So I closed it out for around about 4 points, 4.5 points. Small profit on that trade. With trades, I'm always happy to get out early before a target if the market is not giving me that evidence to remain in. Okay, so things to look at from this trade. Well, I'm going to go on to the higher time frame. We're going to have a look at this zone and the reasoning behind why I was looking for that potential bullish bounce. Okay, so on the daily time frame, so we had the press up on the Friday, a nice strong bullish move up on the FTSE. Since then, the market has really just been going sideways and almost at the exact same levels. We had a spike up on the Friday, a spike up on the Monday. The market hasn't really been going anywhere at all, but it also has not been breaking down. And on the swing up here, we created this level of structure. So lining up with the spike up from the 15th, the 19th, the 20th, and the 21st. As the market started to come back down into it today, I was happy to look for this as potential support for at least, you know, a press back up toward these previous highs. Now, we didn't get the price action that left me comfortable staying in that trade, looking for the run up. However, that was the basis of the trade. Okay guys, I'm going to add this into the end of the live trade video. So it's basically the second trade that I'm taking for the day. Adding it because the first trade exited a little bit early, ended up being a very, very small trade in terms of what I was looking for. So with this trade, it is basically a counter trend, kind of a scalping move. I'm really looking for a pullback into around about 7294 to 7293. Only looking for 3.5 to 4 points. With the market pressing up the way it has, it is looking more bullish now. However, I would expect it to pull back and retest this structure. Now, with scalping trades like this, first of all, I don't take them very often anymore. So I entered after I got the rejection up here at 1145. With it being such a small move that I'm looking for with scalping moves, I tend to use reduced stakes on them just because I'm looking for much smaller moves on the market, and it can quite easily move against you. Now, I should also point out, actually, in terms of scalping, every time I talk about scalping in a video, I get some people who decide to tell me that it is not scalping. Now, what they're talking about is they're talking about the original definition of scalping. You know, they're talking about the time back when people used to watch reels of paper for updates on prices. And you know, technically that's absolutely correct. You know, what they're talking about is correct. However, with the markets, the way the markets always evolve, scalping has also evolved. Scalping, you know, the common term now for scalping is you're looking to take small moves out of the market, you know, a couple of points at a time, a few points at a time. So just looking for this pullback, as I mentioned, around about 3.5 to 4 points. If I see that, I will just come out of this trade. Then I will actually be looking for a potential bullish move, because as I've mentioned, the way the market is now setting up, it is looking like there is another bullish bounce potential. So I would look for that if I see the correct price action. What you can also see actually is after I exited the trade, obviously the market then instantly popped up into the target level that I was looking for. That is all part of trading. You know, trading can be incredibly frustrating at times. You know, and that happens quite regularly. Or maybe you'll have your stop at break even, and it will come down, and it will take you out of break even, and then it will reverse and shoot back up toward your target. It's just, you know, it's just part of trading. Very, very frustrating, but there's really nothing you can do about it. The best thing you can do is just learn to accept it, just learn to, you know, brush it off and move on. Okay, so all I'm looking for, 3.5 to 4 points, as I've mentioned. Let's see how we get on with this one. Okay, so the market is now down testing at these levels. I'm just waiting to see if it breaks down toward target. So as I mentioned, only looking for 3.5 to 4 points. Small move when it comes to scalping, and I also use those reduced stakes. You know, it's easy to get sucked into being a trader mindset and almost looking at it like a computer game. For me, what I need to do is I often need to remind myself how far I have come in terms of, you know, where I am now in regard to earning money. So, you know, I really don't like to show position sizes, things like that on the videos. You know, I've explained it multiple times why. It's, you know, it's really one of the negative sides of trading for me, and it's one of the things that causes people to come in with unrealistic expectations and lose money. But, you know, for this scalping video, I'm only looking for around about 3.5 to 4 points. So reduce stakes, and it can be easy to sort of get disheartened and think to yourself, oh, you know, this is, you know, I need more than this. I've only made 4 points. Through the magic of editing, if I can now hopefully delete the little boxes that cover up position size, you know, you can still see that 3.5, 4 points, you know, it's still going to be around about £200 on the day. And all I need to do is remind myself that, you know, I came from a building background. If I was still in the building industry and I could clear £200 a day, I would be absolutely laughing. You know, I had to put in upwards of 8 hours a day, you know, usually a lot longer, much more difficult physical labor, and I'd earn much less than that. So, you know, it's worthwhile reminding yourself, if you are a trader, if you are starting on your journey, don't lose track of the money. And by that I mean don't start losing the value of the money. It's, you know, there's nothing wrong with taking smaller profits on certain positions. I have no problem taking a scalping position like this. Now the problem is, you know, sometimes you do take a scalping position that moves against you, and just the way it is, you know, for me, 2 or 3 scalping positions, if I had one loss, it wipes it out. That's why I only take them very rarely, and it has to be high probability. You know, for me, this one was, and we came up, we had a few confluences up there for the potential rejection, and I was happy to get into this trade. It is now popping up a little bit, but after that strong bearish candle we've had, I am hoping that it's going to pop down and retest at those levels. Let's watch it. Let's see if we do get down there. Okay guys, the market is just coming down toward that target area. It's coming back to retest that level of structure. If I do see around about 3.5 to 4 points, I'm just going to sit and watch this. If it pops down, I will just take profits, and then that will be the end of the video. We're just sitting down around about 3.5 points. Just going to wait and see if we get another little rush of bears stepping in before we see the bulls looking at that level of structure. Okay, 4 points, there we go. Okay guys, so as always, I hope that was helpful. Got a couple of trades out of today's video. First one didn't really work out too well, but we had a nice scalping move there.
I hope you've all had a good trading week. I'm James Orr, and thank you.